Change by Royal Aku Aku. Things change, people change. Minds change, love changes. Hearts change, life is change. I read that poem just to kind of give you an idea of what I plan to talk about. Now that I'm done with my research, I have found that communication, understanding, and openness are many aspects needed uh, for understanding and accepting change. Allow me to explain. I began this project quite one sided simply because I felt very strongly about my topic. And who wouldn't feel strongly about a controversial topic? The topic I presented was about religion. I was curious to know why there seemed to be such an adamant pursuit to rid our nation of God. Initially, it seemed to be an issue with saying one nation under God and the Pledge of Allegiance. Following, I heard debates about whether to keep In God We Trust on American money. To me, everything seemed fine, and there was nothing that I noticed that should be changed, or that even needed to change. I saw no positives in changing something that has always been. Um, what's the saying? If it isn't broken, don't fix it. If this is the case, then I would like to know what it is exactly we are attempting to change or rather fix. So my curiosity really stemmed from why others wanted to change or take away something that this nation was built upon, which is Christian morals and values. When I was younger, my mother taught me how to tie my shoes. I struggled with learning the way that she was trying to teach me, and as a result, I taught myself. Um, in doing so, I realized that there was more than one way to tie my shoe. That was my learning experience, and my mother never tried to change it. I was very appreciative of her for trying to teach me, though. Um, but I've been tying my shoe the way that I taught myself ever since, and she's never tried to change it. And even though I know the way that she tried to teach me now, I still decided to do it the way that I was able to teach myself, because that's how I remember how to do it. If someone tried to get me to change it, I would first question why I needed to change the way that I learned how to tie my shoe, and then inform them that been trying, that I've been tying my shoe this way, like, for years, and I just don't have any issues. This kind of relates to my subject matter. Let me explain. There is much damage that could possibly be done uh, if we tried to take away something that was someone's foundation. Sometimes change isn't necessarily needed, but reasoning can be understood why someone might think it needs to be changed. I first needed to understand people's reasoning with my research topic, um, because first I was just hearing people wanting to change this and wanting to change that, but I was wondering why change it. One way to understand this is to put yourself in the other person's position. I found myself doing exactly that with the questions that were asked on my articles, which consisted of many surveys asking multiple different questions about how people felt about prayer in school, starting off the school with prayer, how they felt about the things that were written on the dollar, or In God We Trust being in the courtroom. So after evaluating those who answered specific questions, I better understood why they felt the way they did. The U.S. has become a melting pot full of many different nationalities. Um, and many people who are not natives of this country, uh, they don't practice Christianity, but rather another religion, their own religion. Um, Many things they may not agree with necessarily here simply because they have different cultures and religion. This is understandable, but at the same time, they should not try to change the way that things are in this country. One man said specifically in one of the articles that I had chosen that he himself, uh, was asked that he really did not have a stand on many of the controversial questions concerning um, this being a Christian nation, but that he moved here and he respected the fact that that's the religion that it was our nation was founded of. Um, he said he didn't want to change things because he didn't feel like he should or that was his place. He just rather continue to do things the way that he did and just respected our country's foundation as well. There are also people who are native of this country and they just worship another religion, which is okay too. But I don't think that they should try to quote unquote convert the nation because there's nothing wrong with the foundation that I feel like was set. Uh, when someone feels strongly about a topic, it's easy to try to persuade others that how they feel is correct. They will gather information to better support their stance on the subject matter. They will do, by all means necessary, whatever it takes to get everyone to take their stance. But this only makes sense. Although they can try as hard as they possibly can to get someone to take their side on the subject matter, they will not get far if they are not sure exactly how to persuade properly. As I looked through the articles that I had chosen to use for my research, I realized that what was said exactly was not that matter, but rather why it was said. I also found that it was quite interesting the ways that certain things were presented to the reader. The interesting thing about the articles that I chose were the uh, most parts of it consisted of the surveys that I mentioned, asking multiple questions to get the overall view on how they felt about the subject matter at hand. After taking into consideration all the questions asked and all the different point of views, I stood by the idea that being open-minded and understanding where others are coming from and their point of view, although someone may not necessarily agree with the way things are, I think it's very important to be open to hearing what another has to say and to respect how some things are and the fact that they may not change, although we may not necessarily agree with it. In conclusion, I believe that if a foundation's set, let's not break the foundation. Because if you break the foundation, then that could just cause much, much chaos in the end. Thank you.